Barcelona weekend has finally kicked off, and with it, plenty of eyes are set on how much impact the front and rear wing tweaks have made so far. The question everyone's thinking about: is this really what's giving McLaren such an edge? Or is there more to their sudden surge in performance? Let's break it down. There's been a lot of talk surrounding how much flex those wings actually have, especially when comparing fast and slow corners. One of the best examples of this is the Suzuka circuit, known for its high-speed turns. If you look closely at footage from there, you'll notice something quite interesting. When McLaren's pushing through high-speed zones, their rear wing drops quite a bit, hugging the car more tightly. But as soon as the car slows down, like when entering a braking zone just before the main straight, the wing lifts right back up. That movement alone creates a big aerodynamic change. And yes, it matters a lot. It's not just some small technical detail. Teams like Red Bull have been monitoring this behavior for a while, and it's been clear that McLaren found a way to stay within the rules while still gaining an advantage. Some even argue they've been using a loophole, one that might now be closing. But let's not stop at the rear of the car. There's plenty going on up front too. Low-speed corners give us the best chance to see what's really happening with the front wings. McLaren's design seems to allow for just enough flexibility to raise eyebrows. And it has. Red Bull and Ferrari have both been quite vocal about it, pushing the FIA to take a closer look. And eventually, that's exactly what happened. But McLaren isn't the only team under the spotlight. Mercedes has had its own share of scrutiny, especially with their recent improvements. Both Russell and Antelli have shown impressive pace lately, which raises the question, is there something more going on beneath the surface with their front wing too? This Barcelona race isn't just another event. It's become a testing ground. The reason? This track has every type of corner you can imagine, which makes it the ideal place to check just how well each car really performs across different conditions. What makes this weekend even more important is the rule change. That's just come into play. From this race forward, teams will face tighter checks on how much their front wings can flex. The new limit reduces the allowed movement from 15 mm down to just 10 mm. That might sound like a small number, but in Formula One terms, it's a massive shift. The FIA is being stricter, and now it's up to the teams to prove they're playing fair. Back in China, something similar was done for the rear wings, but that didn't really slow McLaren down. So naturally, everyone's watching to see if this new change will finally impact their front-running form. Several teams have already shown up in Barcelona with brand-new front wings, knowing that their older designs might not make it through these tougher tests. Now here's where things get interesting. McLaren's drivers seem confident. They believe their performance doesn't rely on wing flex at all. Team principal Andrea Stella even backed them up, saying the team's real strength lies somewhere else. So if that's the case, then what's really driving their success? Well, some insiders believe the secret might actually be their braking system, particularly the way it helps manage tire wear. Earlier this season, there were whispers about McLaren using advanced materials that could help cool down the tires more efficiently. Once the FIA clarified the rules around that, we did notice a dip in their performance during the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It wasn't massive, but it was enough to raise a few eyebrows. That's exactly why Barcelona has become a key moment in the season. The circuit's variety will put every team's setup under a microscope, and with the new checks in place, we'll see who really has the edge, legally and technically. Everyone in the paddock seems to agree on one thing: Barcelona could reveal a lot more than just pace. This is where theories will be tested, upgrades will be challenged, and any gray areas in the regulations might finally be addressed. But more than anything, people want to know if McLaren's current momentum is sustainable, or if it's built on something that's now being slowly removed from the game. The talk going around is that McLaren made smart use of what was allowed. That's pushing the boundaries, but not necessarily crossing the line. And while that's fair in a sport built on innovation, it's also a fine line. Other teams believe this regulation shift will help close the gap. But if what Andrea Stella says is true, that the front wing flex has very little to do with their actual advantage, then McLaren might not lose much at all. Still, not everyone is convinced. Ver, one of the key figures watching the situation closely, mentioned that the new technical adjustments could slightly change the order on the grid. But he also believes that the championship picture won't flip overnight. Whoever is leading now is still likely to stay ahead after Spain. However, when it comes to raw pace, the race might tell a different story. Teams are taking this seriously. The chances of seeing a completely reshaped performance chart aren't high, but it's possible. That's why nearly every top constructor has brought something new for this Grand Prix. For them, this isn't just about a single race. It's a test of their adaptability under tighter rules. Some may pass that test with flying colors, while others could fall behind. As Barcelona gets underway, one thing is becoming clear. This might be the weekend where we finally understand if McLaren's dominance is built to last or just benefited from timing and interpretation. Red Bull's team principal Christian Horner has been very vocal about the recent changes. According to him, even though the front of the pack is extremely close this year, adjustments like the one introduced in Barcelona could seriously influence the outcome. He pointed out how in the first few races, the gap between Red Bull and McLaren was nearly 0.8 seconds, a huge margin in Formula One. Yet in places like China and Suzuka, Red Bull still managed to compete near the front, sometimes even taking wins. That's why Horner believes the change in wing regulations might become a key turning point. His message is clear: don't overlook this update. The field is tight, and in such conditions, even a small rule tweak can become the deciding factor. He even said that this might be the moment that shifts the battle at the top. For teams like Red Bull, this could be a chance to claw back performance that has slowly slipped away over the last few rounds. Then there's the tire temperature issue, something that caught everyone off guard earlier this season. McLaren was accused of using materials that helped control tire heat more efficiently. The FIA stepped in and clarified the usage limits just before the Imola race. And right after that, McLaren's edge didn't seem quite as sharp. So it's no surprise that people are wondering if these technical directives are slowly pulling the rug out from under them. Barcelona could be the final piece of the puzzle. The way this track exposes weaknesses, due to its mix of fast straights and tight corners, makes it the perfect place to measure if teams have been skating too close to the line. But it also opens up the floor for one big question. If these rule changes don't bring McLaren back to the pack, is there anything else left that could? As we head deeper into the season, there's one storyline that refuses to fade. Is McLaren truly following the rules, or are they benefiting from clever loopholes that others just didn't spot in time? It's a fine line in motorsport. What one team sees as innovation, another might see as bending the limits. But unless something illegal is found, the advantage stays, and the frustration for rivals grows. Ferrari, in particular, entered the year with high expectations. Statistically speaking, their driver lineup was one of the strongest. Yet, things haven't unfolded the way they hoped. Their performance hasn't matched the hype, and their development rate seems to be lagging behind the rest. While McLaren, Mercedes, and even Red Bull have introduced significant updates, Ferrari has appeared more cautious, and that's cost them in recent races. Ver, sharing his thoughts on this shift, mentioned that Barcelona might not change the championship leader overnight, but it could definitely stir up the running order. He hinted at a potential reset in performance, especially as every top team is rolling out redesigned front wings that comply with the new testing methods. This isn't just about performance anymore. It's about compliance, strategy, and how quickly teams can pivot under pressure. This technical directive, many believe, came too late. It allowed teams like McLaren plenty of time to make modifications before scrutiny truly began. But even now, the impact remains uncertain. Will these changes flatten the competition, or just shuffle it slightly? For fans and teams alike, there's a mix of hope and doubt. The desire is clear: a more level playing field, more competition, more unpredictability. But whether Barcelona delivers that or ends up being another chapter of the same dominance remains to be seen. There's one truth in Formula One that never changes: the smallest edge can mean everything. And while some see McLaren's recent form as a result of smart design, others believe it's been helped by areas the rules didn't fully address. Until now. That's what makes Barcelona such a critical point in the season. It's not just another race. It's the first real test of whether these regulatory changes can shift the balance on the grid. Andrea Stella, McLaren's team boss, hasn't backed down from criticism. In fact, he's turned it around. According to him, the more other teams point fingers, the better it is for McLaren, because that means the rivals are distracted, chasing shadows, instead of improving their own performance. He firmly stated that whatever advantages McLaren have, they don't come from any tricks or flexing wings. In his view, their results are rooted in solid engineering, good decisions, and steady progress, not exploiting technical gray zones. From the outside, it's easy to think that everything hinges on a single part like the front wing. But inside, the garage, success is about 100 different details. How the car handles, how it responds to tire wear, how efficiently it brakes, and how it performs under stress. If Barcelona doesn't change the leaderboard, it could mean McLaren's edge is much deeper than expected. But here's the real twist. If Red Bull and Ferrari are focused on one issue while McLaren keeps improving everything else, then they may already be 2 steps behind. So even if the new tests catch some minor issues, the big picture may remain unchanged. Now the only question is, will this Grand Prix change the direction of the championship? Or are we already looking at a team that's too far ahead to be caught? Only time and the track will give us the answers.